we turned this into a museum in 1963. I've had two fellows come on the committee, Bob Stewart and Bob Taylor. They're fantastic individuals. This one fellow used to restore Porsches. He's a retired salesman, now he restores wagons. The first one he brought back was this one. When you look at it and you see what it looks like, it's a piece of junk. And he brought it back like this. I just almost cried. Because most guys that take a wagon and they say, I'm going to restore it, and all they do is sand it and throw more paint on it. Well, he stripped it, took it completely apart. And then he built this, and then right after that we found out there was a man in New York, in Connecticut, doing a study on the Brewster Company, doing a doctorate study. And he's going to all the libraries to collect all the information. So we called him up, and we said, we have 5 or 6 Brewsters here, and the first thing he asked is, what are the serial numbers? And we said, what serial numbers? He didn't know any serial number. He says, well, look in the seats and look under the axle. And so we went through our collection. We had 10 of them, and this fellow can't believe it. It's just because we collected these from Mrs. Seth Thomas. Buffalo Riders went out of business in 1937. One of our members went down and bought all their tack because they didn't have use for them. So they had 100 setups, and about 50 were in boxes that hadn't been opened. And of course, a set of these is what you hook to a horse to pull a wagon with. And we got them for $1 each. They now cost $2,000 each. And we're still using some with the U.S. Army, 70 years old. We saw the John Wayne movie with Maureen O'Hara was filmed in Ireland. I can't remember the name of it right now. They rode in one just like that. This is used like a babysitter. So this is another Brewster. It folds down like this, allows you to get in. We haven't done a thing to this. One of our collection. Now, the horses here came from Porter's, which used to be a Western store downtown. There was 87 of these stores around the United States. And so a section over here, so when you open up, you don't get any mud on your feet. It has a little table here to put your purse on, put your drink on, or whatever, after you get in the wagon. If the ladies want to do their face, this folds up, and there's a mirror to do your face with. So you get that. And then, if the windows are closed up in the wintertime, these all closed, you want to get the attention of the driver, you pull this knob, it rings the bell underneath, he turns around, go left, go right, whatever. So this is a beautiful brome, and it's been kind of restored by the two Bobs, as we call them.
But this
is a beautiful Brewster lamp. The driver sits here when he's not driving. He stands here when he drives. He stands on that, and the reins go up over the top. It's called a dicky seat or a mother-in-law seat. Don't touch my daughter, The old days you had to have chaperones. So you'd be driven around Central Park. Now you can see the way this thing looked before they restored it. Did a beautiful job on it. 5 movies with Maureen O'Hara. Big Jake, they're all on the other side here in the pictures, but you can see the beautiful red interior, the nice rattan here, rattan roof inside, and has a glove compartment. And of course it's red to match her hair. Seat in the front allows the passengers to get in, and then this seat moves back like this, and then the driver gets in and drives from there. So it's like a family cart. It was used by the Hot Springs, Arkansas. It was a resort, a very, very fancy resort. And they go in and pick people up in town and bring them out. Then it came out Coil Springs. Now we understand it's about 1 in 100,000 or maybe 500,000 that had Coil Springs on wagons. Made by the wagon, but it doesn't have the curved bottom. 2 Ronstadt farm wagons. We didn't do a thing to this one. This one had to be completely restored. The wheels were all bad. We had to rebuild 2 of the wheels. But it was like a chuck wagon, but it was Andes. They come from in the winter and work. Yeah, You carry food on it. You go out a long ways. You carry food. Say you're putting up. So the Ronstadt wagon company made. This is pictures of all the different commercial models. Behind it is one of the Charles Goodnight when he was really old. The cook the cook was the second man on any trail ride. You had a man that was in charge. He probably got $100. The cook got $50, and then the cowboys got $25. This was a typical meal that he would prepare. Now, he would have to get up at 4:30 in the morning and have things ready by 5 so they could go out and, get the cattle moving on the trail rides. Now, during that time, there was probably 33,000 cowboys and probably 10 million cattle over a 20-year period of time from about the end of the Civil War to about 1880s that they drove from Texas up to Kansas, up to Montana, those areas. About 1,000 cowboys were killed, and the majority of them were killed drowning. They go across rivers, get swept off of horses, they couldn't swim. Hand came through here in about the 1970s, the Ringling brothers, and they didn't want to take them, and they left it with a rancher out here, and he didn't have any use for it, so he gave them to us. Gave us this one. We redecorated with pictures. We tried to get the company, the Ringling brothers, to tell us the exact design on this, and they won't give it to us. They won't talk about this on the corner in Reno, Nevada. It was for sale. It was in really bad shape, and one of our members saw it, drove over. How much do you want for the stagecoach? Guys said, $150. Here's a check. And then he called us up. He said, put some money in the bank to cover this, will you? Then we took a trailer up, went and picked it up. But if you rode in the West in the old days, these are the rules you had to follow. Abstinence from liquor is requested, but if you must drink, share the bottle. To do otherwise makes you appear selfish and unneighborly. If ladies are present, gentlemen are urged to forgoing smoking cigars and pipes, as the odor of the same is repugnant to the gentle sex. However, chewing tobacco is permitted, but spit with the wind, not against it. Children must refrain from using rough language in the presence of ladies and children. Buffalo robes are provided for you in comfort during cold weather. Hogging the robes will not be permitted, and the offender will be made to ride with the driver out in the open. Don't snore loudly while sleeping or use your fellow passenger's shoulder for a pillow. He or she may not understand, and friction may result. Firearms may be kept on your person for use in emergency. Do not fire them for pleasure or shoot at wild animals, as it riles the horses. In the event of runaway horses, remain calm. Leaping from the coach in panic will leave you injured at the mercy of the elements, hostile Indians, and hungry coyotes. Forbidden topics of discussion are stagecoach robberies and Indian uprisings. Gents guilty of unchivalrous behavior towards lady passengers will be put off the stage. It's a long walk back. A word to the wise is sufficient. This is a city of Tucson Police Patrol. They pick up people around town. This had solid sides on it and just a window right here. Occasionally, they would take prisoners all the way to Yuma in this. 240 miles, which is about 6 days. And then they would bring the prisoners out at night and chain them to the wheels.